I knew something was wrong the moment I saw the moving truck in our driveway. After 15 years of marriage, I'd learned to read the signs of Daniel's business decisions. And this had all the hallmarks of another one of his schemes. Surprise! He grinned as I walked into our house. What was left of it? The furniture was gone, the walls bare except for nail holes where our family photos had hung. I sold the house. I set my grocery bags down slowly, careful not to let my hands shake. You did what? Sold it. Got an amazing offer. $3 million cash. He was practically bouncing with excitement, like a child who'd pulled off a clever prank. No realtor fees, no haggling. Guy wanted it as is, furniture included. We closed this morning. I looked around our dream house, the one we'd spent 5 years renovating, the one where we'd raised our children, the one that was supposed to be our forever home. When were you planning to tell me? I'm telling you now. He spread his arms wide. Isn't it great? $3 million, Sarah. We can buy something even better. The house wasn't for sale, Daniel. His smile faltered slightly. Well, technically it was. Remember when we refinanced last year? You signed the papers making me sole owner. I remembered. He'd said it was just easier for his business dealings, that it would help with taxes. I'd trusted him, just like I'd trusted him with so many other things over the years. Where are the kids supposed to sleep tonight? I asked quietly. Oh, I got us a suite at the Marriott. Just for a few days until we find a new place. He pulled out his phone. Look, I already have some listings saved. The children are at my sister's house. I cut him off. Remember? It's their weekly sleepover with their cousins. Right. He waved dismissively. Perfect timing then. We can get everything moved out before they get back. They'll be excited about staying in a hotel. I watched him ramble on about his plans, about the amazing opportunity, about how this was going to change everything for us. He didn't notice my silence, my stillness. He never did. The money's already in my business account, he continued. I'm thinking we could. Your business account? Something cold settled in my stomach. Not our joint account? Well, yeah. I handled the sale, so it made sense. He trailed off, finally noticing my expression. Come on, Sarah. Don't make this into a thing. You know I always take care of us. Like he'd taken care of us when he invested our savings in his friend's crypto scheme? Or when he used our emergency fund to buy into that timeshare scam? Or when he... I need some air, I said, turning toward the door. Wait, where are you going? The movers need to know where to put everything. I stopped in the doorway, not looking back. Where exactly are they supposed to put 15 years of our lives, Daniel? He laughed nervously. It's just stuff, honey. We can buy new stuff. But it wasn't just stuff. It was Tommy's height marks on the kitchen doorframe. Emma's first art project that we'd framed in the hallway. The custom kitchen island where we'd had family breakfast every morning. All gone. Sold without a second thought. I walked to my car, my mind already racing through the steps I'd need to take. The plans I'd been carefully laying for the past 2 years were about to accelerate dramatically. Sarah, Daniel called after me. Where are you going? To get some things for the kids, I said calmly. For their stay at the hotel. He relaxed visibly. Great idea. Get whatever they need. Money's no object now. No, I thought as I drove away, it never was the object. At least not for him. My first stop wasn't the store, it was my office. Not the little home office where I ran my hobby interior design business, as Daniel called it, but my real office, in the gleaming downtown building where I'd been quietly building something much bigger than Daniel could imagine. Mrs. Walker, my assistant Jessica greeted me with concerned eyes. I just got the alert about the house sale. Should I activate Protocol Alpha? I nodded, sinking into my ergonomic chair. How long until everything's ready? She consulted her tablet. The paperwork is prepared. Your lawyer is standing by. And, she smiled slightly, Mrs. Chun is waiting for your call. Mrs. Chun, Daniel's biggest client, or so he thought. The wealthy property developer who'd been feeding his construction company massive contracts for the past 2 years. The same Mrs. Chun who was actually my silent partner in what was about to become Daniel's worst nightmare. Get her on the line, I said, pulling up the folder I'd been updating for 24 months. It's time to show my husband exactly what his hobby wife has been up to. Jessica's fingers flew over her keyboard. Should I also alert Mr. Patterson? I thought about the private investigator who'd been documenting Daniel's business dealings. Every shady contract, every under-the-table deal, every creative accounting decision. Yes, I decided. Tell him to prepare the full report. And Jessica? Make sure the conference room is ready for tomorrow morning. We're going to have some visitors. The banking team and the SEC investigators. I smiled, thinking of the evidence carefully compiled in my secure server. I think they'll be very interested in how Daniel's been handling his construction company's finances. As Jessica left to make the arrangements, I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a small photo, the only one I'd managed to grab from the house before Daniel's movers took everything. It showed our family in front of our dream house the day we'd moved in. You should have asked me before selling our home, I murmured to Daniel's smiling image. But then again, you should have asked me about a lot of things. My phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. Hey honey, the movers need to know what to do with your design samples and client files from your office. I texted back, don't worry about those. They're not in the house. What do you mean? Where are they? In my real office, I replied, then turned off my phone. Looking around my spacious corner office, the one Daniel had no idea existed, I thought about how long I'd been preparing for this moment. 2 years of building my own empire while he dismissed my work as a hobby. 2 years of documenting every questionable decision he made. 2 years of waiting for him to go too far. Well, he'd finally done it. He'd sold our home, our children's home, without even consulting me. Now it was time to show him exactly what happened when you underestimated the wrong woman. Daniel's smirk disappeared the moment he walked into my conference room the next morning. Sarah, he stopped short, taking in the wall of windows, the expensive furniture, the view of downtown. What is this place? My office. I gestured to the chair across from me. Please sit. We have a lot to discuss. He remained standing, looking increasingly uneasy as he noticed the other people in the room. My lawyer, 2 SEC investigators, and a distinguished-looking woman he knew very well. Mrs. Chun. His voice cracked slightly. What are you doing here? Helen Chun smiled, but it wasn't the warm smile she'd given him during their business meetings. Supporting my partner, of course. Partner. He looked between us, confusion evident on his face. What partner? Me, I said quietly. Helen and I have been business partners for the past 2 years. Ever since I started Walker Design Group. He laughed, but it sounded forced. Walker Design Group? Your little home decoration business. No, Daniel. That was just the cover. I pressed a button, and the large screen behind me lit up with my company's portfolio. Walker Design Group is actually one of the largest commercial interior design and property development firms in the region. With over 50 employees, 20 major projects completed in the last year, and I paused for effect. A very interesting relationship with your construction company. The color drained from his face as he finally sank into a chair. I don't understand. Let me help you understand. I nodded to Jessica, who started distributing folders to everyone in the room. For the past 2 years, your biggest client has been Chin Development Corporation. They've given you contracts worth millions, helped you expand your business, made you feel successful. Because I am successful, he protested. I earned those contracts. Did you? Helen raised an elegant eyebrow. Or did you get them because my company is partly owned by Walker Design Group? Because your wife's firm has been orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. Daniel's hands shook as he opened the folder in front of him. This is impossible. You're just an interior designer. A hobbyist. A CEO, I corrected him. One who's been watching you make increasingly risky business decisions. Like selling our house without consulting me, then putting the money in your business account instead of our joint account. That was a good business decision. $3 million, Sarah. $3 million that you needed desperately, I said calmly. Because your company is actually on the verge of bankruptcy. Isn't it? He went very still. Who told you that? Your books told me that. I gestured to the SEC investigators. Would you like to explain to these gentlemen why you've been moving money between accounts? Or how you've been using new contract payments to cover old debts? Or perhaps, I pulled out another document, why you sold our house to a shell company that's actually owned by one of your subcontractors. You've been investigating me? His voice rose with indignation. Your own husband. No, Daniel. I've been protecting myself. Ever since you lost our savings in that crypto scheme, I knew I needed a backup plan. So I built one. Several, actually. Jessica handed me another folder, this one thicker than the others. This contains every questionable transaction you've made in the past 5 years. Every time you've borrowed from our personal accounts for your business. Every contract where you've skimmed money or cut corners. You can't prove any of that, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Actually, we can. Helen spoke up. Every contract my company gave you came with very specific documentation requirements. Requirements that Mrs. Walker here helped design. Daniel's face went from white to red. This is entrapment. No, my lawyer finally spoke. This is evidence gathering. And it's all admissible in court. You're bluffing. Daniel tried one last time. You wouldn't send me to jail. What about the kids? The kids? I felt my careful control slip slightly. You mean the children whose home you just sold without warning? Whose stability you've repeatedly risked with your schemes? Those kids. He had the grace to look ashamed. I was trying to save my business. I know. You're always trying to save your business, make the next big deal, chase the next opportunity. Well, guess what? While you were doing that, I built something real. Something sustainable. I stood up, walking to the windows that overlooked the city. Walker Design Group is worth $50 million, Daniel. We have contracts with major developers across 3 states. That little hobby you love to dismiss? It's now one of the most successful firms in the industry. 50 million, he whispered. And growing. Helen smiled. Your wife has quite a talent for business. Better than yours, I'd say. So what do you want? He slumped in his chair, defeated. Money. Revenge. I want my house back. I turned to face him. The good news is, since you sold it to a shell company controlled by your subcontractor, and since that subcontractor has been implicated in your financial irregularities, the sale can be voided. And if I refuse? Then these gentlemen from the SEC will be very interested in examining every aspect of your business dealings. I sat back down, including some transactions that could result in criminal charges. The room fell silent as Daniel processed his options. Finally, he looked up at me with something like respect in his eyes. You've been planning this for 2 years? Longer, I admitted. But I needed proof. Documentation. That's what the last 2 years have been about, creating a record of your business practices while building my own company as a safety net. For the kids. For all of us. I softened slightly. Daniel, you're not a bad person. You're just reckless. With money, with our stability, with our trust. I couldn't let you risk everything we've built anymore. He nodded slowly. What are my options? My lawyer pulled out another document. Option 1, you cooperate fully. Return the house to joint ownership. Transfer the sale money to a trust for the children and step down as CEO of your company. In return, Mrs. Walker's firm will help restructure your business under new management, and the SEC investigation remains preliminary. And option 2? We go public with everything. I met his eyes steadily. The financial irregularities, the questionable contracts, the house sale scheme. Your choice. He stared at the document for a long moment. The business, my employees, will be protected, Helen assured him. Walker Design Group will absorb your legitimate contracts. Your workers will keep their jobs. But you need to step aside. And the house will be returned to us, both of us, I said. But with a new stipulation. It goes into a trust for the children. Neither of us can sell it without the other's consent, and both our signatures will be required for any major decisions. He picked up the pen my lawyer had placed in front of him. You really built all this? While you were underestimating me. Yes. I smiled slightly. Turns out interior design isn't just about choosing curtains. After he signed, after the SEC investigators left with their evidence, after Helen departed with a proud smile in my direction, Daniel lingered. The kids, he said quietly. Do they know about any of this? They know Mom has a successful business. I gathered my papers. They don't need to know the rest, as long as you keep your end of the agreement. And us? Our marriage? I paused, thinking about the past 15 years. About the good times and bad, the trust built and broken. That depends, I said finally, on whether you can accept that your wife isn't just a hobbyist anymore. That I'm your equal, or maybe even your better, in business. I think you've proved that pretty definitively. He managed a small smile. $50 million? And growing. I checked my phone. The movers will return our furniture tomorrow. The kids never have to know it was gone. Sarah, he stopped at the door. I'm sorry. Not just about the house, but about everything. About not seeing who you really are. I know. I watched him leave, thinking about second chances and lessons learned. That night, back in our house, our children's house, I sat in my home office looking at the family photo again. But this time, I saw something different in it. Not just a family in front of their dream house, but a woman at the beginning of her own dream. A dream that had grown into something bigger than Daniel could have imagined. My phone buzzed with a text from Helen. Board meeting tomorrow. Time to discuss that expansion into commercial real estate. I smiled, thinking about the projects I'd been planning, the empire I'd continue building. Not in secret anymore, but in plain sight. Definitely, I texted back. After all, every dream house needs a dream business to support it.